We're gonna start, so if you will flip over to the back of your pink page, please. This is our reteach plan. So first thing I want us to do, we know our critical error is to identify independent and dependent clauses, because if they can identify them according to our task, they would have put the comment in the right place, it would have avoided a fragment, and it would have avoided run-ons, and they would have gotten those 4 questions correct. So I want you to take, for time's sake, I want you to take about 4 minutes. And I want you to just jot down, as your teacher lens, your brain works, what would be a way for you to possibly reteach this? What would be some ideas of how you might teach this? Don't write a lesson, just write down maybe a generic kind of, I think this would be a good thing to start here, work towards this, and end like this. So kind of a quick, what's a lesson idea that you might have? You'll spend a few more seconds wrapping that up. So we're gonna kind of spar ideas out, share them, and then come to a kind of an idea as a team, maybe where we want to start. Tomorrow we'll come back and we'll finalize our plan and plan the reteach and plan our see it and our do it for our lesson plan. Something really important that I waited to share for now because I didn't want it to guide what you wrote down. But important part of DDI is that when we look at a standard and we're looking at the percentage of passing of that, if it is 50%, really almost 60% or below, research shows that modeling that task is probably going to close the gap quicker. If it's 60 or above, doing a guided discourse could close the gap. So we know that we were sitting for this standard in the 20 percentages. It was like 25 something, I think. I can't remember. What do you have it? What was it? 20. It was in the 20s. I remember that. 23, I think. Yeah, it was 23 point something. 23% on this. So this, keep that in mind. We're going to share your plans, but when we come back, it is important to know that our percentage was lower than the 50%, 60% mark. So, all right, Pam, why don't you get us started with what you think might be a good way to reteach this critical area?
Okay, I think I would first start by defining what a dependent and independent clause is to them. And then maybe even together work on identifying those independent and dependent clauses in a sentence.
All right, next.
I wrote, or just an idea would be do some type of sorting activity, which would be the procedure for categorizing. So they would categorize, after they do the identification, defining piece, they would then categorize them into their different respective categories. That way it's a step further. But it's not there just yet, but it's the in-between stage.
Would you do that sorting activity as they do it and monitor that, or would you still do that as part of your see it still?
I think I would maybe have that even be in between the do now and the see it. That would be a good check for understanding.
I like it.
And you said it was 20%, right? So modeling it would be better, right? Okay.
We'll come back to that. All right, Ms. Williams, what you got?
The same, but but I did have I had what you said under check for understanding, just so that they can actually real life see like, oh, okay, this goes here, this goes here. I usually do it like in stations where they'll have like independent, dependent. They have a whole bunch of random sentences, and then you know, it's so much fun. But as far as looking at like a do now, maybe we can kind of wake them up and have like a real life connection with just giving them no cards and saying, you know, giving them maybe independent clause here or dependent clause here. It's like go find the match to your note card. And I've done that before, and it has been pretty effective. It kind of wakes them up, not telling them this is an independent clause, this is the dependent clause, but it gets them awake and say like, oh yeah, we did just make a sentence, you know. But and then going into that defining, and then going to the practice, check for understanding with the sorting, and then even if we go into maybe a small deal, well, it doesn't have to be long, but 5 questions, so that it's aligned to what they actually see on like a grammar check, so that it has like their passage and we can identify it and maybe go through that for like an exit ticket. Like, what are some misconceptions that you might have had? What did you have the most difficulty with, so that we know moving forward that we nailed it or we need to go back again.
So what I hear is, if I was to solidify these actually 3 plans into one, is a real life connection at the beginning that inspires the thinking behind the clauses without telling them. Defining, giving them kind of what this definition of the two is and identifying in that process. Then doing a check for understanding with, say, a card sort, some sort of check for understanding, and close out with an exit ticket that would have 5 or so questions aligned to our assessment, so that we could say if we mastered this or not, or improved.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. We could get the exit ticket to function as their create piece too. They're finally evaluating those things together.
So you can even do 4 questions that are multiple choice, as I usually see it on a grammar check, and then that 5th one is for number 5. Go ahead and create
your own sentence. Use those independent clauses.
I like it. I think just in that brainstorm, we started out with kind of a remember and understand, and develop through create through the whole process. So I think that's fantastic. The only thing I want to add as your coach is to assure that modeling piece, the see it, is strong. We need to truly model what an independent dependent clause looks like in a sentence, and that needs to be the kids actively note-taking while you're up there truly modeling. So the great thing about the high flex for this is I see a Google slide, some movement in slides, movement of the parts of a sentence into a slide. We could even bring into a pair deck to have the card sort activity.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm just waiting for that pair deck.
So I see a high flex lesson being able to be done this way with everything that you brainstorm. So tomorrow what we're gonna do is we'll sit down and we'll turn that into the high flex lesson.
Perfect.
Are you guys good with that?
Yes.
let's do it.
Okay. So just to close out, just know that this is not the 20% standard score that we got, or score we got on the standard. This is our first true grammar teach of the year. So we know that when 7th grade you have reading and writing, you have to battle together. And so I just want you to understand that we're gonna see growth, I promise you, that we're gonna see tremendous growth. So if you trust in this process, you will see that we're gonna come out, I know, above 50, 60%. And that's about all we can ask for, right, in 1 year, so.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, ladies, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
See you next week.
See you tomorrow.